What's up, Internet people? You're here tonight with Jacob Seus and Rob Deiters for a little PTI. What's up, Rob? Okay, so we have a lot on hand for tonight's show. A little football, some basketball, and a little baseball trade deadline. For tonight, we are going to start off with the new Pro Bowl formation for the upcoming 2013-2014 season. Roger Goodell has seen in years past, he's commented on it, that the Pro Bowl is not really a big attraction to fans anymore. It's really not drawing a lot of views on TV as well. How about you tell the listeners a little bit, Rob, about the new changes that will be made? You know what? Well, as you said, there is going to be a fantasy draft. It is now no longer going to be NFC versus AFC. And does the draft sound intriguing to me? Will I watch the fantasy draft? Yeah, I will. But is that going to make me watch the Pro Bowl? No, I still don't want to watch the Pro Bowl. Um, I think that the NFL needs to do a little more. I see that they are trying to take a step and make it fan friendly. And I really don't know what they could do. I think players take it as an honor to be selected to the Pro Bowl, but they don't take it as an honor to play in the game. And that's partially the player's fault and not the NFL itself. I don't like that though either, because that's taking a Pro Bowl spot away from a specialist kickoff returner. I don't know what they're doing with that. Kickoffs are exciting to watch. The one thing that might be exciting to watch in the Pro Bowl. You know what? I have to disagree with that a little bit, though. I get it's an honor to play in the Pro Bowl, and you should I maybe go out there and give your 100%, but you don't want to. Football's a rough game. You don't want to say you got hurt in the Pro Bowl. You're going to be out all next season because you got hurt in the Pro Bowl? I don't think so. I agree. The game could be boring, and maybe that's because of it, but that is the players and not the NFL. I do think these are nice gestures by the NFL, but the things that they're doing for the Pro Bowl, why is that going to make me want to watch the game instead of years past? It really doesn't make a difference to me. I don't know about other NFL fans. I think Cooper should at least be suspended for the first 3 games of the season. I think the whole Eagles team should have to forfeit the first 3 games of the season. And I think that Michael Vick, Jeremy Maclin's out for the season, LaShawn McCoy, they should be fined their whole contract. Yeah, I'm just kidding. That's just coming from a die-hard Giants fan. But I do think Cooper should be suspended. What he did was wrong. Actually, if you do want to see it, it is online. He was at a Kenny Chesney concert, seen saying, "I will go in there and fight every N-word in there." I mean, he was under the influence, as we did find out, but, I mean, that's ridiculous. The NFL has gotten a bad name already this offseason with Aaron Hernandez and all the arrests and whatnot. I think that he should be suspended and without pay for at least 3 games. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, though. This is a great start for Chip Kelly to his Eagles career. I mean, maybe Vic knows where Cooper is coming from. He sees the media attention Cooper's getting, everyone all riled up over this, and Vic knows he's been in the same situation, so maybe he's a little more lenient to Cooper. But obviously, as we've seen, the rest of the Eagles have not been, especially as you mentioned. LaShawn McCoy said that with those comments, he did lose a friend, and I don't blame McCoy for the situation at all. I mean, this is a teammate. Someone for the next 4 months, you have to come every day, practice, games, spend locker room time. I mean, this is your immediate family. And you want to have guys on your team who you can trust and who you can be able to get along with and feel comfortable being with for the next 4 months. Do you think that Goodell might be a little less harsh on the Eagles because of what happened with Macklin? Um, I think that could be an option. I think suspension fine might be good enough, especially without pay. Someone who's not a high profile player in the NFL only had 23 receptions last season, which isn't horrible, but it's not top prospect. I think that he would learn his lessons from this and realize he does need to be more careful out of football. And he is somewhat young. And I know each team does have a talk with their players at the beginning of training camp about everything, social media, what you do off the field, because it does have consequences. And 3 games is a decent amount of pay. So hopefully, if that is the solution to the problem, that it will help him to realize what he did was wrong, and then he wouldn't even think about anything like this again. Exactly, and you saw different things on social media so far this offseason. We saw the Pouncey brothers at their birthday party displaying hats that said "Free Hernandez." We saw Victor Cruz and others tweet about the Zimmerman case and their opinions. And yes, they're entitled to their opinions. And yes, they are allowed to do this. But it does cause discipline when you are such a high profile, when you're so popular, when you're looked on to by little kids and everyone. It's not like if I went on my Twitter right now and tweeted my opinion on the Zimmerman case. I don't have millions of followers. I don't get millions of opinions back about my tweets. And these are something that these players need to realize, that they do think that they're ahead of socialness and that they're better than people. And if they want to go ahead and think that, they need to treat others like that and go about their business like that. I don't think it's a big situation, but I do need to think that he needs to mature a little bit. I mean, I've heard that people say that out of anyone who's had success in college football, Manziel is enjoying it the most. I mean, we see him go to these parties. We see him sitting courtside next to the biggest celebrities. And you know what? I don't want to take it away from him for enjoying it, because he's worked hard. He needs to enjoy it. He deserves to enjoy it. But he needs to stop doing things wrong and then making excuses for himself. We've heard him say, "Oh, I'm a 20-year-old kid in college. It's okay if I drink. It's okay if I enjoy life." And I'm okay with that. But he needs to stop putting himself out there in the media so much and just get back to football, because the season is coming up. And I actually haven't heard anything about him, his off season, what he's been doing to get better for the season. I've heard him drinking, him being dismissed from Peyton and Eli's quarterback camp. I've only heard negative things about him. And to a point, though, I do want to give him some credit and say that maybe the media should poke out of his personal life. He needs to do what he needs to do, but we all know the media, and we know that will never happen. I've heard that MLB has more evidence on Alex Rodriguez using steroids than they did on Ryan Braun. And Ryan Braun was already suspended for the rest of the 2013 season, so it's almost 100% to say that he will be suspended. But how long is the question? Most likely, at least the end of this year, and probably all of next year. But is that enough? I think it could be enough. That is a long time to be suspended. The rest of this year and all of next year, and we did hear, if people probably heard, that the Yankees do benefit if Alex Rodriguez gets suspended for the rest of his career, because that opens a hell of a lot of cap room for them. That gives them so much more money to spend. That terminates Alex Rodriguez's contract. And we've heard different opinions on it. Buck Showalter said that isn't fair, that the Yankees would, probably not make the playoffs this year, but then starting next year get to go on another money spree. And he said, you know what, Matt Wieters will probably be in pinstripes within the next couple years. And I don't think that's fair. So if you're looking from all standpoints, I think the best thing to do is, without pay, rest of this year, all of next year for A-Rod. I do think he should, because the appeal process really shouldn't be that long. Um, they have the evidence, they know what he did. I don't really know what he's appealing, because they do have the evidence. So, I really don't know. I mean, maybe he could play during that appeal, but how long is that really going to take? A week or two? What do you think, Rob, about the Yankees not having brought A-Rod back into the lineup so far? I mean, he said he's healthy. He's gone to the media behind Brian Cashman's back and said he's ready to go. But Cashman put him in Tampa, where he is now continuing to rehab, even though A-Rod has come out himself and said he's fine. Do you think the Yankees are just holding off until he gets suspended? Do they not want him back in the lineup? I don't know why the Yankees wouldn't want to bring him back, though. I mean, maybe they don't want to have the reputation on them, but they're the New York Yankees. They already have the reputation. I could break out a whole list now of people who have took steroids and played for the Yankees. And if you look at the Yankees third baseman right now, Brent Lillibridge. No, I'd rather have Alex Rodriguez, even at the age of 38, at least for the time being until he gets suspended. The Yankees are 2.5 games out of the wild card. Why wouldn't you want to throw him in the lineup? I don't know. Exactly. We've seen it before from the Yankees. You know what? Enough about the Yankees. I've heard enough from them. Let's go to MLB trading deadline. There weren't any high profile moves made, no blockbusters, but a good amount of trades were made to help teams down the playoff stretch. Rob, let's hear your winners and losers for the trade deadline. Yeah, they did need the bat. You know what? The White Sox were saying for a long time, for the last couple weeks, that they might stay hold on Peavy, that they were going to build around him, but Peavy's been through too many injuries. He's getting up there in age to be the centerpiece of a team. So I think it was a good move for both teams because the White Sox get to start off young. They obviously not making the playoffs this year, so it's a good starting point. And the Red Sox, who weren't supposed to be a top team this year, are, and a good pitching for them down the stretch in PV. I like that move for both teams. I'm getting a real kick out of the Astros. They're getting rid of everyone with MLB credentials. We've seen in the past 5 years, I mean, they've gotten rid of everyone. Everyone who's been good for them, they just throw into the streets. And I love this team. You look at their starting lineup, if you're not a real die-hard baseball fan, you don't know who those players are. These are all guys who should be in the minor leagues, at least for now, and the Astros are giving them a chance, really getting rid of everyone. And I do think, with all these trades they're making and all these prospects they're picking up, the Astros could be a powerhouse for years to come. I, I don't know if they have a chance in the AL East. I think that throughout the month of August and September, that's still going to be a dogfight between the Rays and the Red Sox. But for the wild card, it's going to come down to Orioles and Yankees, at least for that second spot. And this was a good pickup for the Orioles, considering the Yankees are right on their butt, 2.5 games out. The Orioles are going to need pitching. Bud Norris actually is making his first start right now against his former team, so I'm very interested to see how he's going to fare in the American League. Actually, he has been in the American League, how he's, because the Astros moved this year, how he's going to continue in the American League in a tough AL East division. I agree. The Indians are making a nice run this year. Um, they fight in every game. We've seen that. They do not give up. And they're a pesky team, and I like what I've seen out of them. And he will help. Um, I don't know how much, but he's definitely a good pickup. Rob, I have a question for you. We heard that the Blue Jays were being asked about Jose Batista and Edwin Encarnacion. Um, with the expectations the Blue Jays were supposed to have this season, and what turned out to be, right now they're last place in the AL East, I believe 12 games out. Would you have considered trading one of those two, maybe both? No. Yeah, they're like the Lakers of baseball, and I think it wouldn't hurt them to maybe develop some prospects. Um, they are most likely going to at least keep the same core of guys together throughout next year, but I don't see it going anywhere. They're getting older and older, more injuries. I don't. This was the year for them, and they didn't capitalize. That was a weird trade in my opinion. I mean Kennedy has struggled at points this year. I don't really approve of trading a starting pitcher who has the potential to be good to a division rival. I mean, it happens though. The Diamondbacks, though, did get a prospect back who they believe has the potential to be their closer in the future. And they did address some needs which they felt they needed. I agree. I agree. With the Dodgers' hot streak, the Diamondbacks maybe have come to the conclusion that their playoff chances are going to be slim, especially because in the National League there really isn't much competition for the second wild card spot. It's really going to be locked up for the two teams that lose the National League Central. So if you're not in the Central, it's win division or bust. And maybe the Diamondbacks came to that conclusion. You know what? The Rays gave up nothing for him. Who Crane was an all-star this year, and again they're in the dogfight with the Red Sox for first place in that division. So he's going to be a good addition to the bullpen. Um, Especially for nothing, I would take him in a heartbeat. That was the great move by the Rays. You know what? I agree. If I was the Phillies and I would be giving these players to the Dodgers with open arms, I would have taken top prospects and started to build the future. We saw this season that the Phillies are not a top caliber team. They're not the worst team in the division, but they're certainly not the best. Chase Utley would have been nice to get rid of for them. Cliff Lee, they were trying to shop him, but they weren't going to get rid of him unless they got two top tier prospects, which no team was willing to give up. So the Phillies did stand pat. That might come to hurt them in the future. I agree with you. I think it was a good move because they're not going to have to worry when his contract comes due. They do have him locked up now for $80 million. Does signing John Wall make the Wizards a top spot for free agents to land? No. Um, but obviously they're set on building around him. I would like to see them make a couple more moves, maybe a couple splashes in free agencies to come, maybe a possible trades. I mean, JaVale McGee is out there. I mean, obviously the Wizards really don't have much of a shot for the next couple years to come. I mean, maybe if they play really good basketball, they could sneak into the 7-8 spot in the Eastern Conference. But if you look at their division, they got the Heat, who's bad enough. Then they have the Atlanta Hawks, and then besides those two teams, the division is filled with teams trying to rebuild: the Charlotte Bobcats, the Wizards, and the Magic. So the Wizards need to add a few more pieces, but it's definitely a good start. They definitely do. I mean, Wall will continue to develop. He'll continue to improve his game. I mean, as I said, the Wizards maybe could be a playoff team this year, and I mean, that's definitely a high maybe, but they could sneak into the 8 spot. I mean, it all depends on how they come together and play basketball. Uh, it could happen. Maybe. That's ridiculous. I'm getting sick of that. Come on, can we get some more baseball highlights maybe? I know we talk about football and basketball too much, but let's get some baseball and hockey in there. I don't want to. I'm not watching Sports Center to see what's going on in the bottom of a pond. That's for ABC News to handle. Sports Center's getting kind of whack. They need to calm down a little bit and focus on sports. Even if you go back to the Boston Marathon, I get it's a sporting event, but it's not for Sports Center to be telling us about the investigations and the court trials and whatnot. If you're watching ABC News or NBC or CBS or whatnot, and you're sick and tired of hearing about the Boston Marathon or whatever major world-breaking news it is, you might turn to ESPN to get your mind off it a little bit. Maybe focus on some sports. You're not turning to ESPN to relive it. I I 100% agree with you there. It's really starting to become a shame. Well, it looks like that is all the time we are going to have today. Thank you to everyone who listened. Me and Rob will be back within the next week or so to bring you another sports show. Hope everyone has a good evening and a good upcoming weekend, and we will see from you next time. Thanks for listening.